Descent of the Demon God. By Hanjo Wiolia. Chapter 228. Artificial God. No one thought they could be in such a situation. Would they have imagined the end? And the seat of ruins to be in the capital Xi'an, the center of the Chinese government? Well, it is dark under the lamp. Point 1. The midday sky, which should have been the brightest at noon, was bathed in crimson. People of all ages and genders went out to see what wasn't forecasted. Whisper. What is that? The sky is red. The police, public security, and the soldiers of national defense were out looking at the unusual sky. This wasn't some gate opening, but it was weird. However, this occurred only in Xi'an. This is reporter Lin Young from CJ. As you can see now, the entire city of Xi'an is currently enveloped by red clouds, and citizens are afraid that something horrifying. MBS correspondent Mun Si-hyung. Even the Korea Meteorological Administration cannot explain this situation that is happening. One after another, the media was reporting about this change. It showed just how great an impact this had. How is the government going to view this as? Does it have something to do with the gate? Thousands of reports flocked to the capital's council building. Despite the government also not knowing anything about it, they were the only ones anyone would turn to when such things happened. This seems ominous. The face of Ju Sok-yong, one of the 5 great warriors who was a general security official of the state council, darkened. He was sensitive to energies, and the red sky gave horrible killing intent. It was the first time he had ever felt such a thing. If he was like this, then the ordinary people had all the right to be anxious. It was then. Phew! A magnificent sight unfolded in the sky. Red clouds opened, revealing a bright light. Look there. Angel, too. The cameras shooting the council building before were now shooting the sky. What seemed like a myth or prophecy of all kinds of religions was now in front of their eyes. A beauty with an astounding 8 red wings. It is so majestic that even the people in modern society want to kneel in front of it. Creepy. But more than that, the sensation the people felt from the angel only brought fear. Despair and fear in the face of death. Maybe everyone felt the same. Wind Emperor Ju Sok-yong fell into despair at the energy he was feeling from this angel. He never felt such despair even when an S-class gate opened. Around that angel were 4 other ones with 6 silver wings on them. Chick. At that time, the media's cameras began to behave erratically. The camera is? They zoomed in on their own and showed the angel with 8 wings. The people holding the cameras were shocked as a weird voice was transmitted around. Kick humans. Beep. Along with the voice from the speakers came a dolphin scream echoing around. Everyone looked up while covering their ears. My ears. Ack. Turn the sound equipment off. It felt like their ears were tearing apart, so they all wanted to cut off the sound, but it didn't work. Chuck. Quack. Anyone who had their hands on their ears was killed. Who could try and dare to turn it off? People in pain just stayed in silence, and the voice spoke again. Humans, I am God. Those watching the TV or the internet couldn't hide their fluster at it. Someone just came down from the sky and called themselves God. This word has reached a point where it can no longer be brought back due to turbidity and filth. So this great God will purify it. Purify? People were confused about what this God was saying. Everyone knew that purification didn't mean to clean. It meant to end humanity. The people inside the council office were in a mess because of this God. What the hell? Call the Minister of National Defense. Why is that being broadcasted? They were trying to solve this situation right away. At that time, the entire building was covered in red light. And the moment the people from the building went out and were exposed to the red light, they all disappeared like vapor. Everyone disappeared as if they melted due to intense heat. And no way. The government officials are gone. The reporters in front of the main building were at a loss of words. A red flash of light fell, and the building then disappeared. This wasn't seen by only them. What the hell is going on? The government. Is this really the news? It was being transmitted throughout Asia. It was a live broadcast, everyone connected through the internet witnessed. Even the Yongchun group of the Sky Demon Order, all the executives who were inside were looking at it. It just happened. They were the people in the conference room. The Blade 6 people, GM Song Ryong and Huang Heol, were also with them. Chun Wu Jin asked Huang Heol, what do you mean? They really made a god. God. The purpose of MS Group that everyone thought was nonsense. The absurdity of creating a god with human hands. They weren't the only ones watching it. This is driving me insane. How can this happen right when we lost contact with Lord? Calm down, Hu Bong. Chun Yuan's subordinates, too, had seen it. They were all watching this video on their phones, which began to display it forcibly. They were convinced that this had something to do with the MS Group. Duke Joseph was the one who seemed shocked. Tita Lisha. What do you mean? At his words, Mun Ranyong asked in a serious voice. That person is the head of the Heaven Clan. Heaven Clan? The one which is at odds with you? There was no way they could forget the war they had fought for so long. The sixth Talisha is known to be the worst in history. But why is he being shown? I don't know about it. However, why does Talisha look like that? Duke Joseph was shocked. The wings of Talisha were red. The Talisha they knew had golden wings. His appearance made him known as the Golden Heavenly King, but now it was soaked in crimson blood. What happened while I was imprisoned? A voice of the one called God was heard. The place where this body was born is nothing more than a holy land. I will show you mercy and give you the opportunity to walk the path of purification on your own. At that, Hu Bong said in anger. What the hell is the bastard talking? Wait. At that time, the being called God raised his hand, then the sky covered in red began to shake. Flash. Rumble. The red sky shimmered with lightning and thunder. A strong wind blew. With a storm in all directions, unbelievable scenes were happening around. What is this? It started to rain. However, the rain was nothing ordinary. It was deep red, as if blood was falling down. This made the people even more frightened and panicked. Eik. Be blood. It could be imagined just how surprised the people would be. However, the actual scene was even worse. The sudden blood rain made the people who were getting soaked run. The entire Xi'an city was in chaos. Shoot! The National Guard, who arrived right on time, started to fire. Ta-ta-tang. Swash. However, it wasn't the god being shot, it was the citizens. The tanks were firing on buildings and innocent people. Bang. Quack. Ack. People fell with screams of despair. They didn't even know if the blood was from the rain or their wounds. Why were the National Guard shooting at civilians? The civilians, too, were attacking one another like a mob. Die. Die. You need to die. Everyone has to die. People grabbed anything they could use as weapons and attacked the others. It was a scene that was hard to witness. Quack. Wong. Quack. I need to kill. They kept on attacking each other. The peculiar thing was that their eyes were dyed red, and they showed a strong desire to kill. The absurd horrors of stabbing their own families, friends, colleagues, and children. Everyone, stop. Why are you? Ju Sokyong tried to deter those who attacked them, but their eyes turned red. He tried to protect himself with energy, but he couldn't suppress the killing intent rising within his chest. When that exploded, quack, die, cha-cha-cha-cha. The people harmed by the air swords were devastated. Xi'an City was destroyed. There were only screams of people murdering each other and horrific scenes caused by it. It was like seeing the end. The scene was being broadcasted all over China, and it shocked everyone. This is it. The being called God trembled while seeing what was happening. Invisible to others, a red aura was glowing around him like a halo. Goo. He was embracing the emotions of millions of people raging with killing intent and the fear of the others who saw this. This was food to him. Wasn't I correct? Man attains enlightenment through fear. The slaughter of blood is sweet. Hee. This is just the beginning. All humans on Earth must see this. I like the idea of thinking about mere creatures. So they feel despair? The only sane ones in Xi'an were broadcasting this. They filmed it, the city drenched in madness and trembling with fear. Media is an excellent way to spread fear. I agree. Old man agrees too. 3 beings were speaking in the heads of God, Talisha, Cho Yeshin, and A being called God with 3 personalities. The personalities had a common goal. This world should bleed and be purified. The city of Xi'an was the beginning of the end. Everyone who witnessed the scene wherever they were felt the fear of that city tainted in madness. The end of the world had begun. A being calling himself God spoke to those in fear. All humans watching this, be afraid. Worship me and humbly accept the hour of death approaching you. Before the words could finish, Kwang! There was a loud roar that made thunder and lightning barely audible. The rain that had been falling was moved by strong winds. The 4 angels looked at the southwest at the same time. The barrier is broken. The 4 angels were making a barrier around the city to surely end this place without outside influence. However, it was broken. We will handle it. Go. When the command fell, 2 of the 4 of them disappeared. Shoo! Their bodies belonged to great warriors of the Heaven clan, which could be compared to the demons. The 4 angels created by perfectly remodeling the body have strong powers except being absolute like God. The head of the 4 angels, Cha, said, "Soon, the heads of those who touched the barrier will be sacrificed to God, Papong." Then, after the bloody downpour was split, someone appeared. The eyes of the angels who saw it trembled. In the hands of the man were the heads of the 2 angels who went to rule out the enemy. The exact words came out of the 2 angels' mouths simultaneously. Demon God. He was a man wearing a black suit while holding the heads of the angels who went out. He was the demon god Chen Yuan. How can this be? They couldn't hide their doubts. Obviously, Chen Yuan should have died after that trap. However, he appeared right in front of them. Pack. Chen Yuan threw the 2 heads to them and said with a terrifyingly fishy smile, "I've found you." Creepy. When they heard his voice, the angels felt goosebumps rise on them. Being born as divine beings, they thought they didn't have to fear anyone. Yet, they felt like humans just at the sight of this man. What is this? What intimidation is this? Behind them, God opened his mouth. I guess you were alive. Demon God. The lips of the being called God twitched. It was as if he knew Chen Yuan would be fine. The god smiled. However, you are late. The purification has begun. No one can stop. Shoo! At that moment, Chen Yuan waved his hand. Swish! The red clouds around the city disappeared. The two angels were shocked. The clouds. Of course, that wasn't the end. Chen Yuan glanced around and snapped his fingers. Snap. A wave of energy rose around them. Pop-pop-pack. The people trying to kill each other suddenly grabbed their heads and screamed. Quack. And my head. Thud. They slowly passed out on the floor. In an instant, the chaotic city went silent. The two angels were at a loss for words at what they had witnessed. To them, Chen Yuan said, "Do you have more talents to show?" Fake God.